Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sunday Morning Coffee with Lisa. I'm Spiritual Coach Lisa Hopp. It is Sunday, April 23rd, 2023. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new, welcome. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you will continue to stay and to listen to my upcoming podcasts. Please be sure, if you're on YouTube, to like, subscribe, and share. If you're listening to this through Spreaker.com or through my business page, Lisa Hopp, Spiritual Teacher Lisa Hopp, I believe it is. Please like and follow there as well. I'm also on Instagram under Spirit Teacher Lisa Hopp. And for those of you coming back every week, thank you so much for your comments, your positive feedback. I say it every week, but it's true. I appreciate all of you so very much. So today, we're going to talk about manifesting with the masters, because thankfully there have been teachers. And there have been teachers probably as long as there has been time. Thousands upon thousands of years, millions of years. We've never been in this journey alone. We've never had to tackle it alone. And lately I've needed the teachers more. I've needed the masters more, because I'm human, as we all are human. Every person on this planet has human moments. We don't always have it. We're not always all together in the moment. We're not always cruising along and in complete control of our destiny. Sometimes we need a helping hand. And it's so interesting. This week I had a moment. And I kind of know I kind of have a heads up. I kind of know how I'm attracting and where I turned a corner or something. But this week something happened that totally threw me. I didn't see it coming at all. And it did cause me worry, stress, strain. But I went right to work on it. I don't live in it. I just won't put up with it. I just won't, because I know it's unnecessary. So what I did is I just put on my headphones and I went to my teachers and I started listening to their truth, their wisdom. And I rebooted, I regrouped, and I feel like I'm back on track again. So I thought, what a perfect topic for you, to be back on track. Or to just be on track. Maybe you're on track and to stay on track. And, hopefully this will help you today. So when I speak about the masters, well, there's the number one master of Jesus. He came to this earth and he was a teacher. And I always saw him, though I was raised in a very traditional religion, Catholicism. And I'm not to say I don't believe I do believe he is a son of God. Yes, the son of God. I don't dispute that. But I always kind of saw him, even as a very small child, as a teacher, as a master teacher. Like I always just knew him that way. And that's how he came to be with us. And that's why he taught us when he was on this earth how to turn the other cheek, how to love thy neighbor. He gave us keys. He gave us keys to living on this earth, to living an abundant life, and keys to heaven as well. And so, yes, there are many teachings of his that you can tune into. But one of the latest teachers that I've really been listening to is Neville Goddard. Excuse me for the fumble of his last name. And Neville was a great faithful man, a great faithful teacher. He lived in the 20th century. He was still doing lectures in the 1960s. And some people felt he was a man before his time, but he was just passing on the ancient teachings. And he spoke of Jesus a lot. And what I want to say to you, when we talk about teachers, it's those that will help us to manifest, that will help us to visualize, that will help us to work with energy, that'll help us to navigate this journey, because what you put out comes back to you. You are not a puppet. You're not here randomly. It's not bad luck or good luck. You honestly make your own luck. You are the creator. And so there are different teachers that speak and say the same thing in different ways. And so it's very important to explore and to find who resonates with you in the way of teaching. And so I just wanted to give you some suggestions today. So Neville spoke about Christ a lot. And for those of you who perhaps have that traditional background, you may find that some of his teachings are a block to you, because when he speaks of Jesus, he speaks about all of us being God within, all of us being Jesus within, being aligned. One of his great books is Feeling is the Secret. And he talks so much about the importance of how you feel, what you think, what you say. And he is very proactive about aligning us with God. In other words, when you have heard, perhaps I have heard, we are made in the image and likeness of our Creator, Neville lived by that. He lived by that knowing. And was very strong-willed about it. There was a knowing about his knowledge of that within him, not a belief, not even a perception, but, oh yes, that's the way it is. And so he would often say, when you have a desire, the desire is given to you from God. And so if it is given to you from God, it's yours. You don't have to pray about it. You don't have to wish for it. You shouldn't wish for it, because it's yours. All you have to do is be in a state of receiving it, of feeling that it is already done. He also taught about prayer and how to pray. Now, we often pray to something that is separate from us. And then when we get a yes, it's okay. God randomly gave us the yes. And when we get a no, it's okay. I wasn't supposed to have it. Well, I always feel that when things are not black and white, we're getting what we pray for, it means that better is coming. But yes, we tend to put our prayers to a separate being from us. Well, Neville would tell us that being is not separate from us. We are all one. We are of that energy. And so all you have to do is acknowledge your desire and then expect it to come. But you must walk around as if it's already done. The outcome has already happened. And I've heard so many great teachers say that. Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, one of my favorite teachers, Mike Dooley, who is also in The Secret, the movie. They all say, be about the outcome. Feel as if it's already happened, it's already yours. Now, that can be hard to do in this physical reality. If you're wanting, for instance, if you're desiring to be financially free and you are looking at bills on your table to pay, and you don't know where the money is coming from yet for those bills, it can be very hard for those two. They kind of bump up against each other, do they not? But even though with your eyes you may see that, even though a doctor may tell you about a certain diagnosis of yours, stay in the outcome that you want. If it is your health, you are well. You are healed. You are cured. If it is about finances, you are financially free. You are abundant. You are prosperous. If it is about love, feel that relationship is already yours. If you're in a relationship that you want to be better, feel that it's already better, that it's already good. This will put the energy out there. And then the energy will multiply and come back around to you. That's how it's done. It's all about vibration. It's all about energy. And it may take you a moment for you to see this happen, and it may take you months or it may take you years, but you keep going at it. I believe it was Neville that said, just do it for 6 months. Try it for 6 months. But when you're waiting for something important to happen, 6 months is a long time. But faith pays off. It always does. It always turns out better in some way. Now, sometimes we look upon another's life and we say, well, Lisa, this happened or that happened. How could you say it turns out better? But they know in their story it does. So it's very important to know that. Another thing Neville says, which I love, is that what you desire for yourself, it is so important to desire for another. Yes. So when you want, let's say example, a small example, you want $1 million for yourself. Want it for everyone else too. Everyone you love, everyone you don't like. And when they get it, or when they get any abundance, get excited, applaud, be happy for them. It's another way of multiplying your blessings. Now, prayer. And I might have gone there before, but I want to go there again. Prayer. I did. Not only is prayer not separate to a being, the right way to pray, as Neville would say, is to say thank you. Just say thank you, because it's already yours. He would go to bed at night, and before he went to sleep, he would say, thank you, Father. Because he was of a traditional background of religion. So he knew God as a male. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Mother. You can't get this wrong. Another thing very important to Neville. Well, a great teaching, I should say, not only important to him, but good for all of us. The best time to be in this moment of feeling the outcome. What would it feel like? What would it feel like to have the freedom? What would it feel like to have the cure? The best time to really get that going is right before you go to sleep. When you lay down and you're in between that wake state and that sleep state, that's when you're the most open. That's when you literally create your tomorrow. So you want to do it good. You want to get in that place where this is the feeling, and then if you can, go to sleep with it. He learned these, and he talked. He did lectures. He had best-selling books. He helped so many people, and his books are still available today. Neville Goddard. Check him out. He's on YouTube, and there are many people that spread his learning, his help, his teachings. And so they're out there for you. And he's a great teacher to have within your life. Now, another great teacher is Florence Scovel Shinn. She was also of the early 20th century. She actually passed in Camden, New Jersey, not so far from me. And within the 20th century, I believe, perhaps a few decades ago, she wrote a great book that I love, The Game of Life and How to Play It. And she speaks so Gilded Age, I want to say. It's so wonderful. But same type of philosophy, same type of teachings. She, though, instead of she pressed more. I don't want to say she contradicts Neville. She doesn't. They say the same thing. But she adds the power of the intuition. Now, she would say this week that I didn't listen to my intuition when something happened that was surprising to me. And I just don't. I think there's something else going on, but it is possible, yes. Most of the time, yes, though. We get a gut, we get a knowing, and we don't follow through. I recently got an opportunity to expand my business space. And my gut knew, yeah, that's the way to go. I don't know how it will work out. I don't know. I didn't have any angst about it. It was like, yeah, my gut knew it was just a moving forward. It was just so, there was nothing. I didn't even barely sleep on the decision. The gut was so strong. That's what I'm talking about, using your gut, because the universe will help you. When you get an opportunity, your gut may not know how it can work out, but your gut will say, I know I'm supposed to do it. And it can be about anything, it can be about a medicine that you're deciding to use. It can be about what you feel about a new person that comes into your life. And so it's so very important to listen to your intuition, and also to trust your intuition no matter what, because, I used to have this problem when I was young. Well, younger. I'm still young. I used to believe everyone around me instead of my own gut. I can remember actually ended up finding out it was the truth. I remember thinking that someone liked me, a man. And then but there was no evidence to back it up. There was no words to back it up. It was just I know this is true. And then later I found out that it was true. But it was several years later. And so I went through all this. Why do am I wrong? Can I but not believe in myself? Like all this unnecessary thoughts, when my gut knew all along what was going on. But we have to trust our gut with blind faith, because there will be, for instance, that person that liked me fessed up a few years later. But if I had chosen to believe them instead of me, who's to say how it might have turned out? And so people will be where they will be. They will mask. They will tell you what they're ready for you to know. They may deceive you in some way because they're unable to tell you the truth. So we must know what's happening. Sometimes you enter a room and it's negative. You have to trust that. Your gut will always tell you what's truly going on. The one thing I like about intuition, I love about intuition actually, is that I know when people are deceiving me, and I don't always call them out, because I know that they're coming from their place. And and is there a positive point in calling them out? It's enough for me to know that they are hiding or deceiving. It's me holding my power and then deciding what to do. And sometimes I do something about it, and sometimes I don't. Depends on the situation and the person. But there's very much an empowerment about that you're in control, that somebody isn't getting you from behind or something like that. You're at the steering wheel. So it's so important to use that in your life, to know how to navigate your path through using the intuition. And the best way to develop intuition is not only to practice with it, but also to meditate. Because meditation just opens up the door to where source is. And when we meditate, we're going to source. So any development you want to have with intuition, or the ability to connect into heaven with your departed loved ones, is really developed through meditation. And it's different forms of meditation. You don't have to go You can do a walking meditation. You can stare at a candle. Different forms. Again, it's what aligns with you. So it's another wonderful teacher. Check her out. Yes. Also teachings of hers, thanks to people who want to serve, are also on YouTube and can be found. Just make sure you go to a site that's positive and good. I mean, what these teachings normally would be, but finding what YouTube channels align with you. Now, also, I just feel the desire to perhaps do a YouTube video on each master and introduce them and introduce their teachings coming up. I don't know how soon I can get it out, but that'll be coming in the coming months. I'll do one about Neville. I'll do one about Florence Scovel Shinn. And I will most likely do one about Louise Hay. Louise Hay just passed, I think, in the last perhaps 6 years or so. And she was the starter, creator, owner, president, head of Hay House Books. And she wrote a wonderful book called You Can Heal Your Life. She also believed in all these principles. She was big about affirmations. Affirmations are I am statements because you are affirming in the present moment that you have what you have asked for. See the power of those words? Now, it is said that Neville Goddard was not a big fan of affirmations. Why? He had no problem with you. He believed that you should speak in the affirmative. However, he saw that sometimes people would do affirmations but not feel them. He felt like they were just spitting out words and not really feeling, living the truth. And so, he has a point with that. I've even had that happen to me where I'll say an affirmation but not really feel it. But I feel, though, that at least you're saying it, and if you repeat it enough, it can get into your subconscious, which is again about your programming. Get it out there, in energy, in vibration, and then it returns to you. But yes, emotions are the most powerful, and so you do want to get those emotions going. But Ms. Hay, she would post Post-it notes of wake up in the morning with her Post-it notes on her bathroom mirror to remind herself of what she had in her life. And she was able to cure herself of cancer. She was able to she was able to serve others with aid. She was able to start her publishing company. She accomplished so much in her life, and she had such joy, and she's just so relaxing, so soothing. And so through Hay House, there are downloads that you can do of her meditations, of her affirmations. She's such a wonderful teacher, and there's such a hole on this earth without her. She's just so beloved. And so an example of affirmations would be, I am lovable. I am successful. I am whole. I am one. I am in an ideal relationship. I've actually written booklets I call them. And one of my booklets is called Affirmations for Everyday Life, where I give affirmation examples for different categories in your life. I also have a booklet that's called Take These Steps Now to Change Your Life. It's a very short book. These books are only about, I would say, 40 pages. And they're just kind of like an express starter book on how to use these principles, because I've seen them work in my own life. And I wouldn't talk about it if I hadn't seen it work in my own life. And I just remembered this because that I actually... By the way, sometimes I forget I've written things. But I just got notification of royalties coming to me because they are published through Amazon.com. And I just get so surprised by that. It's such a joy that someone's finding them. So please know there are those resources out there too. I am passing on what I've learned. I am, yes, I've done it in my own way, but I definitely would not call myself a master. I am just a teacher, and I teach what I learn. I'm student first and teacher next. So check out Louise Hay if you would. Now, one of her great friends. Matter of fact, they passed on the same date, but I believe it was a year apart. Wayne Dyer. And Wayne Dyer, believe it and then you see it. It's not reversed of you see it and then you believe it. You believe it and then you see it. And he changed his whole pattern of life by these principles. By what you feel, what you think, and what you say. And he also was able to cure himself. I believe it was leukemia before he passed. I believe he passed from heart. But when they did his autopsy, they found no sign of a leukemia that he had been diagnosed with. And I believe I'm correct with that. Because he used to say, I don't even catch a cold because my vibration's too high. If you're walking around knowing that you have wellness, you're less likely, your immune system will be stronger. Now, yes, he was diagnosed with something at some point, but there are purposes to that. We attract to that, and that's not you're at fault for it. You asked for it in a human way. I always want to be sure to say that because this isn't about blame. It's actually not at all. Things happen to us to grow us. Things happen to us by what we're feeling inside, what needs to heal within us. If you have a lot of anger, a lot of rage, that's going to show up in some way. But the universe is always helping us use it for a higher good. And it's so important to say, what is the blessing here? How can I use it for my higher good and the higher good of others? And so he was a great teacher of that. Now, other great teachers, Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul. He has a YouTube channel. He will give you little bits and pieces of how to navigate with success your life in the way of wealth, in the way of love, in the way of health. But they all say the same thing. It's about who speaks to you. What gives you that aha? For me personally, sometimes one teacher gives me an aha and then I move on to another. Speaking of moving on to another, when it comes to quantum physics, we are learning another way. It's about science. These are not just spiritual truths passed down from our ancestors in different cultures, all saying the same thing. There's actually an energy, scientific basis to what we put out, we get back. And that ability to almost, not even almost, I'm finding the right words, that ability to restore our bodies, the ability to find even for ourselves a new body. And that is Dr. Joe Dispenza would talk about that. And there are others very much like him. I think of Greg Braden, for instance. And so these are teachers that deal with scientific backup and evidence rather than just the spiritual. And so there's proof out there with the science of the ability with energy and how we are of energy and how we create our journey and how we are responsible for ourselves and the lives that we have. Your life today is what you have created. But wonderfully speaking, you can start right now and create a new one. It's not set in stone. There is no fortune teller that can get it right. It is ever changing and can ever change. So that is another, Dr. Joe is another teacher that I love to tune into because he'll guide you to go into the infinite, to what he calls space, which is source, to float there and to restore, to get out of your human body and to create a new one. And there's been many wonderful things that have happened. There's been remissions and pain going away and wealth and new love lives and just amazing. Now, all of these teachers will tell you that it's up to you, that you are in charge, that you are the one. And so it is up to, what are you ready for? What are you open to? What do you believe in? How much do you want change? Change is always good, but we don't always see it that way. And many of us will stall. Many of us will self-sabotage. But all that is a call for healing. Just love yourself and know, okay, there's a reason why I don't think I'm worthy to have this, or I'm not ready. And work through it, and come to that tremendous place of love, tremendous place of being in control and designing your ideal life. The masters are there. Earl Nightingale was one who taught Bob Proctor, who was a great teacher, also featured in The Secret. Find, research the one that speaks to you, and get your life moving, because that's what you deserve. That's what you're here for, by the way, to learn, to grow, to expand, to figure this boot camp out. So cheer yourself on and do it. I'm cheering you on. I believe in you. I know what you're capable of, as does all those in heaven, and probably everyone on earth too. Thank you so much for joining me today on this Sunday. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope that you connected with this podcast, and if so, please like, subscribe, and share. I may even add, the links to, I'll put some notes down of under this video of a couple different books, and I hope you'll check them out. And remember, like, subscribe, and share. Please go to my website, lisahaupt.com, and also find me on Instagram under Spiritual Teacher Lisa Haupt, or Spiritual Coach Lisa Haupt, and Facebook business page Spirit Teacher Lisa M. Haupt. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day and many blessings.